Good morning, everyone. My name is Mr. James. It's September the 7th. It's a Saturday, and I'd like to give thanks to my higher power. I suffer from a mental illness, substance abuse, and the disease of addiction. I'd like to tell you how I got introduced to drugs. I got introduced to drugs at the age of 9 years old. My next door neighbor, he was a childhood friend. His father was a kingpin of the neighborhood. So he inherited through his father that he became a kingpin. Now, I and him, we was growing up as children, we was fight. We would fight all the time, physically fight. And I just got tired of it. So after a while, one time, I just got up and whipped his tail. Then he came to me the next day and said, Lil James, that's what they call me in the country, Lil James. He was like, I'm so glad that you whipped my tail. He said, because by me being the person who I am, selling drugs, people would be afraid of me. And then I realized that you wasn't afraid of me. After that, me and him became best friends. Now, mind you, on the drug tip, he was selling drugs at 13 years old. I was 9. I always hung around with people older than me. So he had a car, he kept cocaine, and he showed me how to bag up cocaine and would take me out with him and we would go out and sell cocaine together. We sold cocaine for years. But one thing, he wouldn't let me sniff it. He would sniff cocaine. And I would ask him, let me try it. And he would be like, no, I don't want you to have this. I don't want you to do this because they will send your life into a spiraling effect. So I wouldn't sniff no cocaine. He also had heroin. He wouldn't let me sniff no heroin. We would just sell heroin. So I came in the introduction of drugs as a dealer. Sold drugs from 9 years old all the way up to 16. So to speed it up a little bit, when I was 16, I hit my first joint at my senior high school graduation. Me and some of my friends, we went out back on the tennis court. It was maybe about 5 of us. We smoked a joint. Everybody hit a little bit. Puff and pass. Puff and pass. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So I come back in the building at the little party that we had in the gymnasium. I was running. My homeroom teacher, Miss Giacometti, she helped to raise me from 8th grade to 12th. So she basically knew me. And mind you, Miss Giacometti, she had 5 children. So she stayed pregnant the whole time she was at the school. Excuse me. So she stopped me and said, James, are you high? And I said, yes, I am. I am high. You know that she looked at me with the most disappointment in her face of a lifetime for me. She looked at me and said, James, you supposed to never ever got high. You disappointed me. And then that was my first start of drugs being introduced to me in my life of getting high. That's the first time drugs were introduced to me of actually selling drugs. So I seen the devastation. I seen the trauma that it brought in people's lives. By me being young, selling drugs, I did not know I was selling poison to my community. I didn't understand that because I was poor. In the country, we call it poor. I grew up in the gutters. I didn't have nothing, zero. So he taught me how to have money and sell drugs. And the first time I got high when I was 16 years old. That's all I wanted to share with you today to open up my story, how my drug addiction began about. The next one, I'm going to tell you about how my mental illness came about. My mental illness came about in a very, very hard way. So stay tuned, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, leave a comment. And once again, this is Mr. James, 188 Productions, And I'd like you to thank all the people out there who subscribe to my channel. Please, please, let's do it one day at a time. Thank you.